Hello and welcome back to Tales from the World's Firesides. It's a pleasure to be with you. I'm Clive Gilson, the story guy. Today I'm telling a traditional South African folk tale called The Lost Message, which I've adapted from James A. Honey's South African Folktales, which was originally published in 1910 by the Baker and Taylor Company. So anyway, let's get on with the story. The Lost Message. The ant has had from time immemorial many enemies, and because he is small and destructive, there have been a great many slaughters among them. Not only were most of the birds their enemies, but Anteater lived almost wholly from them, and Centipede beset them every time and at all places when he had the chance. So now there were a few among them who thought it would be well to hold council together and see if they could not come to some arrangement whereby they could retreat to some place of safety when attacked by robber birds and animals. But at the gathering their opinions were most discordant, and they could come to no decision. There was red ant, rice ant, black ant, wagtail ant, grey ant, shining ant, and many other varieties. The discussion was a true babel of diversity which continued for a long time and came to nothing. Some of the ants desired that they should all go into a small hole in the ground and live there, while others wanted to have a large and strong dwelling built on the ground where nobody could enter but an ant, while still others wanted to dwell in trees so as to get rid of Anteater, forgetting entirely that there they would be the prey of birds, and yet another group seem inclined to have wings and fly. And, as already been said, this deliberation amounted to nothing, and each party resolved to go to work in its own way and on its own responsibility. So, it transpired that no greater unity than that which existed in each of the separate factions could be seen anywhere in the world. Every ant had its appointed task, each did his work regularly and well, and all worked together in the same way. From among them they chose a king, or that is to say, some of the groups did, and they divided the labour so that all went as smoothly as it possibly could. But each group did it in its own way, and not one of them thought of protecting themselves against the onslaught of birds or of Anteater. The red ants built their house on the ground and lived under it, but Anteater just levelled to the ground their homes in a minute, and what had cost them many days of precious labour was destroyed. The rice ants lived under the ground, and with them it went no better, for whenever they came out, Anteater visited them and took them out sack and pack. The wagtail ants fled to the trees, but there on many occasions sat Centipede waiting for them, or the birds gobbled them up. The grey ants had intended to save themselves from extermination by taking to flight, but this also availed them nothing, because the lizard, the hunting spider, and the birds went a great deal faster than they did. When the insect king heard that they could come to no agreement, he sent to them the secret of unity and the message of work together. But unfortunately, he chose for his messenger the beetle, and he has never yet arrived, so that the ants are still today the embodiment of discord and consequently the prey of enemies. Though the specific details of the lost message do tend to vary depending on the version or the retelling that you hear or read, the overarching lesson is that even small oversights can have large and unintended effects. James A. Honey's collection of folk tales preserves stories like this as part of the broader tradition of using narrative to impart moral lessons and to reflect on human nature. Now, as ever, my main aim in telling stories like these is that we tell stories that might otherwise be forgotten or lost to modern readers, especially for readers outside of the originating cultures. I do firmly believe that if we share our tales, we can make our world a little less complex just by creating a little bit of understanding. This tale appears in my book Incathazo Tales, which contains around 80 traditional legends and folk tales from southern Africa. Incathazo Tales is available in hardback, paperback, and ebook formats from all good retail and online bookstores. And if you've enjoyed the story, you can find out more about me, Clive Gilson, story guy, and the Tales from the World's Firesides project at clivegilson.com, and you'll see dedicated channels indicated at the banner at the bottom of the screen. I'd really appreciate it if you could hit the like button. It always helps to keep these stories front and centre. And please do subscribe to the channels. There's definitely getting on for at least 100 stories now, I think, up on the channels, and there's more stuff coming up every week, so there's plenty to keep you entertained. That's it for now, then. So please keep reading, keep listening, keep watching, and do stay inspired.